Hey, this is Gavin Palmer with Write in Gavin Palmer. I live in Alabama, and I saw a headline about some kind of a brawl. People might, in the headline, they might have called it like a racial brawl, and I didn't pay attention to it. It wasn't, I wasn't called. I didn't feel called to pay attention to it, but my coach mentioned this racial brawl, which is close to home for him, near Montgomery. And he noticed on Facebook that there are people, he was describing what people are saying. And I had pointed out that there was a spirit of anger. And so, anger can be justified and anger can be irrational, right? So just because you're angry doesn't mean that it is justified anger. And I know this because I have become angry and acted in ways that I regret. Sometimes I become angry, and maybe even it's rare. I become angry and it motivates me to respond in a way that was helpful. And so that anger can be expressed in ways which result in transformation toward the good. But it can also result in just becoming controlled by the spirit of anger and picking up a chair and bashing someone in the face. Now, I haven't done that, but I heard that this kind of thing has happened. And I have felt that kind of anger. I can love the people who do that enough to see that I have felt that anger. And so we don't have, I guess I want good leadership. I want great leadership. And I want like a good justice system and a great justice system. And I want a good education system and a great education system. I want a good prison system and a great prison system. And so, like, what happens? What should happen? So, there are two things. When something happens, there are at least two things that I've noticed that are important. There needs to be an appropriate response, right? And there needs to be changes such that things like this don't happen again. Ideally, that's what we want. And what are the problems? Well, man, there can be a lot of problems. So we can just only solve a limited number of problems, and ideally we solve the most important problems. And so what do we do? What do we do when people act with anger and cause harm to others? Well, people who are harmed will make claims of injury. This is fundamental to a justice system, is that people who are injured can make claims of injury. A claim of injury is something like, I observed this happen, this is what I felt, and this is my request for change. And so the people who are injured can make requests like that. So that's the first step. Everyone who is injured can create a claim of injury and say, this is what I observed and this is what I felt. So the feeling is the thing in which you felt injured because of the things that you observed. And then there's the third part, the request for change. This is what I request will change. And so, yeah, if I were a leader in Alabama and close to Montgomery, I would want to make sure that people who felt injured would feel heard. That's step one. And so we need to the people who want to serve God can first step attempt to allow those who feel injured to feel heard. And we can collect all of these stories. So when we talk about what we observe, we're telling a story from a perspective. And when we talk about how we feel, we're telling a story from our perspective. And then when we request change, we're telling a story about what could happen in the future, which could help us resolve what was experienced. And that's just the first step. And I think that's essential for a good justice system, and it's essential for a good education system. So, how do you get this kind of idea and to the leaders? Because I'm not many people give me there is not many people who give me authority. And so, if you live in Alabama, if you want a good justice system and an education system, if you want to serve God, you can use this technique. You can use these tools, and you can provide feedback to me about how, if you had success with these tools or if you did not have success with these tools. We can learn better ways, better techniques. But yeah, we can use these tools at the dinner table with our family. It's called nonviolent communication. And we can also use these tools for these events where people become filled with the spirit of anger and behave in ways which can be seen as irrational. From one perspective, it can be seen as people behaving in an irrational way, and we should feel, if we practice loving people, we would practice listening to people and how they feel. So, I don't know how to encourage people with influence and leadership skills to cooperate and collaborate and inspire their followers, their community, to aim at doing this kind of work. But I do know I'm a husband and a father and an employee, and I can do that. I can do that. I can do. I can practice encouraging nonviolent communication. I can encourage my wife and my children and my coworkers, my friends and my neighbors. It's a practice. And so we all can practice this, but some of you might have more influence than others and more competence than others at cultivating this way of being. So I would encourage all of you, even the individuals who just have neighbors. If you're on the internet right now, you have neighbors. You're not a hermit. Because I'm your I'm your virtual neighbor, right? You can leave a comment. But yeah, I would encourage trying to lead by example using this nonviolent communication, and I would encourage confessing, being a witness, giving testimony to this nonviolent communication, this caring for people, this practice of caring for people and loving people such that we can have more justice in the world and we can do more learning together. So, thank you. I hope that helps. I pray that helps. My prayer is that this is from God through me and will be of service in God's plan. Amen.